Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post Live is, of course, a forum for you to participate in. If you want to jump into this conversation, you're most welcome to do so. You can come in via Skype in Google Hangout and participate. You can ask our experts questions, make comments. You can also use social media, hashtag India Post Live to your tweets, or use our Twitter handle at India Post Live, or you can use Facebook to get in touch with us. India Post Live page is there, or you can go to indiapostlive.com. That's our website, and you can watch this video live over there, as well as the other videos that we have for you on a range of subjects. So feel free to comment over there on our wall and participate. Go ahead and participate. All right, the issue that we're talking about today is an interesting development in politics. So there is a new government, and the new government has brought in with it a lot of hope, and a lot of hope that has been generated not just by people who were already with the BJP, but there have been few voices on the opposition side that have also come out in not in support but in appreciation of new measures and new steps, and the voices coming out of the government. One of those voices has been former Minister Shashi Tharoor and the Member of Parliament from Thiruvananthapuram. So what's behind all this? Well, we'll take you through the story first.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi may have found a new fan in none other than the Congress MP Dr. Shashi Tharoor. In an article by Tharoor titled How Narendra Modi May Have Evolved into Modi 2.0 in the Huffington Post, he has praised Modi's conduct and inclusive policies after election. Though the Congress party has distanced itself from Tharoor's comments and refrained from making any statements on his praise of Modi, Tharoor has defended his comments and said that the duty of the opposition is to stand up for national interest, not just to oppose for the sake of opposing. So in the spirit of the nation, shall we say, well said, Dr. Tharoor.
Alright, so what does the Congress party think about this? What does the BJP think about this? And what do you think about this? Well, you come in and tell us what you think about it and what the Congress and the BJP think about it. We have with us Dr. Ijaz Ilmi. He's a member of the BJP. Thank you very much for coming in. And we also have with us Shahzad Poonawala. He's a sympathizer and a member of the Congress party. We also have on Google Hangout with us Ashutosh Poddar. He's a student of Delhi University. Lakshmi Krishna Kopar, deputy editor over here. She's followed the elections of Shashi Tharoor pretty closely in Thiruvananthapuram. And Sanjeev Singh is there, our consulting editor. He, of course, has been tracking the Congress party and the BJP, both all political developments, very closely. So I'll start with you, Ejasa. What do you make of the new found friendship that Shashi Tharoor seems to be establishing with the new government?
Well, I think it's one of the few articulate, fine people that the Congress party has, because most of them have been dejected and rejected by the voters, and a lot of them have lost their deposits. If he's being truthful and he's talking about image makeover perceived on what he saw of Mr. Narendra Modi and his entire campaign, and especially after being sworn in. So I guess the entire idea of India, emerging India and aspiring India, Shashi Tharoor understands the dynamics. The political landscape of this country has changed dramatically. And the earlier the Indian National Congress understands the new reality of the nation, the better it is.
Alright, I'll come to you, Shahzad, because I know you want to respond, but I'll also ask my producer to play out the tweets that Shashi Tharoor has been saying about Narendra Modi and the new government, and there have been a host of them. In fact, they're there on your screen right now. If Narendra Modi pursues development for all Indians, cooperation is assured. If he pursues a sectarian or divisive agenda, we will oppose it. But this was on the 18th of May. Since then, by the time we reach June, it certainly has gotten, the bonhomie has gotten stronger. But Shahzad, too much being read into this?
Actually, what has happened is, knowing Shashi quite well and having spoken to him on this issue itself, I think there has been a misunderstanding and a misparaphrasing, first of all by the media, which has not read his entire piece or the nuances that come along with it. So for instance, what has happened in the Indian Express story, as I saw, is that an attempt to make over Modi's image as Modi 2.0 into somebody who is more conciliatory is being viewed as Shashi Tharoor praising him for already doing that. That's not what Shashi Tharoor has in fact said. He said that here is an attempt being made by Modi post 16th of May, which is welcome, that he's trying to show himself in a new light. We didn't like the light that he was showing himself previously, which was Modi 1.0, and if he continues to show Modi 1.0 colors, we would continue to oppose it. So I think there's been a little bit of a misparaphrasing, and I also think that those who comment on Mr. Tharoor ought to read the original source which has generated this controversy, if I may use, before commenting on it without knowing what he has said with all its nuances put together. I think it's very unfair that people go by what media is saying. Media sensationalizes. It uses it mostly for TRPs, it quotes and misquotes, and then for people to comment and react on that and quite unfairly is not right. And also coming to the main point of what Tharoor has said, you see, I like what he says, because the role of an opposition has to be to expose the party in power by the strength and the conviction of its arguments, not necessarily by the intensity of its anger. I mean, we can't keep screaming and crying wolf when there is actually nothing concrete to actually scream about. So when something comes up, if we raise those issues up, I think it increases our credibility rather than make us look like a bunch of people who are not, happy or not accommodating with the changes that have taken place.
All right, but Sanjeev, are the people in the Congress willing to buy this? I mean, Shashi Tharoor might be seeing this as the kind of approach that Shehzad wants to adopt, but many in the Congress could be questioning Tharoor over his conduct.
That we've already seen. That is the basic, the sort of response that one expects from the Congress. But you see, the problem within the Congress party is that be it people like Dr. Shashi Tharoor or Shehzad, the sort of positive voices that need to come out. That sort of stuff is missing within the Congress party. I mean, right from the word go, they branded this government as something that's going to go on a divisive and a sectarian, politics, that's going to promote division and sectarian politics. I think the point that Dr. Tharoor is trying to make is simple, that, for the moment we'll give Narendra Modi and his government the benefit of doubt. But the moment we see Modi going back to what he does best in the past, then, they will take on the role of trying to pin him down and push him to a corner. But and basically, you see, the problem is that so far there has been no reaction from the Congress party on what lies ahead, what is the strategy, how do they take on Modi. So all these things just add to the frustration and confusion of leadership within the Congress party.
All right, but as far as Tharoor is concerned, Lakshmi, I want to come to you because you followed his election very closely in Thiruvananthapuram and you followed his political career as well. Now, Tharoor is somebody who's not a dyed-in-the-wool congressman, as they say. So, could this be a move that we see him being part of a new era, as he is calling it?
I think, we're speculating too much. It is premature to say whether, he's not that all congressman that's definitely there. That's not what he has been when he started out. And if you were to read his books in his early days, he's very left-leaning and, he has been like that. And then when he returned to India after his UN stint and, he wanted a political career, he, like he said, serve the people and, look at good governance. And, the left was, of course, a choice. Then it was Congress that, he went into. But then right now, if he has other ideas, I think that is premature to say right now. Too early.
All right, but would the BJP welcome him?
Actually, he's part of dynamic, aspiring, emerging India. And the fact is, if he wants to serve the people, he has to be part of a vehicle that is designed or mandated to serve the people. It's his individual choice. But Mr. Shashi Tharoor also said earlier that I dream that Mr. Modi should not become the Prime Minister. And obviously, that dream is over and the people have voted. So it's a time to introspect and understand that we can't continue. You have to understand that he's a voice which is saying that let the opposition be constructive. And here, members of his own party within the Congress are trying to destroy one of the finer, saner voices that is talking about, let us not keep on talking about this povertarian policies, this dual politics, this welfare. The new Indian is aspiring to get to the next step. He wants his life to be better. So you have to understand the environment, entire dynamics has changed. And if such reasonable voices talk about changes, every party has to reinvent, and we need a strong opposition too. So if he can be part of that mechanism, then that's a very welcome sign.
Right, but Shehzad, at the end of the day, many voices in the Congress, for example, Mr. Manishankar Iyer, the kind of comments that he made about Mr. Tharoor, given his remarks, I mean, the point is that the Congress already seems a divided house and not even an opposition.
The last time Mr. Manishankar Iyer labeled somebody as something that man went on to become the Prime Minister. So I'm glad that he's labelled Mr. Tharoor. I'm sure that will mean that Mr. Tharoor has a long political career ahead. Anyways, what I would like to say is that the BJP should not run and start seeing this as an endorsement of their politics, nor should people in the media start saying.
We're not seeing endorsement.
One second, let me make my point. Let me make my point, and I'm glad that you look at Mr. Tharoor as a reasonable person. So please understand what Mr. Tharoor has also said. He has said that this idea of sounding conciliatory is not percolating across the BJP, who's raising contentious issues of 370, which has nothing to do with the development of this country. You're raising issue now. A Muslim techie has been killed in Pune, yet PMO is silent on this entire issue. Not a word has been spoken against the Hindu Rashtra Sangh.
I need to
So what he's trying to say is that the image makeover, while Mr. Modi is attempting it, he doesn't see the BJP or his colleagues as eager as to that. So they should take this advice of Mr. Tharoor also very seriously. And as far as the Congress party is concerned, I can assure you that I've spoken to many senior leaders of the Congress party who also endorse Mr. Tharoor's point of view, merely because a few spokespersons of the communication department have expressed that this is a personal view of Mr. Tharoor. It should not be seen that the Congress endorses one view or over the other. I think Shashi Tharoor is an elected two-time MP of the Congress party, and if you go back to his career, his writings, he has always endorsed a pluralistic ideology, which is
somebody
closest
like
to
Shashi
Nehru.
Tharoor leave the Congress party? If, for example, what you are saying is
Why should
correct, where some voices are saying
I'll tell you.
going against
I'll
it.
tell you why.
He's lost to
I'll
government
It's
in the
such a
party.
divided
I'll tell you
party.
why.
He's
Yeah.
not allowed to speak within his
I'll
own
tell
party,
you,
and that would be a travesty.
Mr. Ilmi should figure out what happens in his own party. He should not talk about what happens in our party. Mr. Tharoor has made his views on all issues clear to the Congress president and in the public domain. He continues to do that. In fact, the first time he made these utterances was from an official platform of the Congress party while he was addressing the media. So there is no place that the Congress party does not allow for difference of views. So as far as Mr. Tharoor is concerned, he has said that he believes in a pluralistic ideology, which is only available in the Congress party. It's not available in the BJP. He quite clearly says that. So obviously he's going to be inclined towards being in the Congress party. And his entire career and his history, if you see of his writings, has always been towards a Nehruvian, secularist, pluralistic ideology, which matches with the Congress party. So he's not going anywhere. He's not a Modi fan. He's not endorsing the BJP. Please don't take these.
All right, I'll come to you, but I want to get a voice of the common man in. Ashutosh Poddar is a student from the Delhi University, and he'd asked Shashi Tharoor a question also when Shashi Tharoor was here on India Post Live. Ashutosh, go ahead. What would your comment or question be?
I think your perception and your worldview depends quite a lot on the color of your lenses. I don't think it's Mr. Modi who has changed. It's the people around him and the media at large and the public who are viewing him differently. I don't think there's Modi 1.0 or 2.0. This is the same Mr. Modi, and that is the Mr. Modi that we voted for. So I don't really think that you can categorize him differently. I think the vote is not for a Nehruvian consensus. The vote of this previous election is not for somebody we want as a very conciliatory person. We want a decisive person, and that's the kind of vote that has been in the 2014 election. The vote is for development. So I don't really see the logic of a 1.0 or a 2.0. But having said that, I think it's a welcome move from Dr. Tharoor that he's actually having the political courage in a country with a fractured political mandate like India to come ahead and praise the opponent. That's not something we see. And I think a constructive opposition is something that the country requires.
It's not a praise, it's just a reiteration of what we see, that Modi is trying to transform himself from a Hindutva, right-wing Hindutva figure, which he was, and that's why we criticize him so vehemently and we continue to be on guard against him, to a figure that appears to be more consensual. This is just how he is trying to project himself. We are neither praising him, nor are we saying he's guilty of attempting to do that. We are just saying he's attempting this. We've said that this is what he's trying to do. If he manages to do it, and certainly if the BJP manages to do it, more importantly, it could be welcomed. But right now it's too early to say.
All right, I'll not just let you defend the BJP. There's another voice from the BJP that we spoke to a short while ago. Vineet Goenka, the the IT cell convener of the BJP, spoke to us about Tharoor. So this is what he had to say.
It was pleasure to read Shashi Tharoor's blog on Modi ji, Modi 2.0, where he talked about what we are intending. Let me assure Shashi Tharoor ji and everybody in the opposition, we were seriously intending this. The inclusive politics, growth for everyone, each and everyone. Indians cannot be differentiated as Congresses or BJPs. And Modi ji is Prime Minister of India. I hope we will stand true to what we have spoken, and Shashi Tharoor will always keep on writing praise about us. Shashi ji, for a change, I agree with you what you said.
Dr. Ilmi.
I mean, these are the sentiments within the party also, is that if you work for every Indian, till the last Indian, then you incorporate everybody in the scheme of things of growth. But coming back to what you said earlier about Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer, his bloated buffoonery and his bluster was actually called off by the constituents who gave him a befitting response. He's become like a jobless joker now. So that's for Mani Shankar Iyer. As far as what my friend talked about 1.0 and 2.0, the people definitely have voted for Mr. Modi, the performer, somebody who can decisively transform this country, somebody who has been given the trust reposed in him by a majority of people who elected him, is for a strong, decisive leadership who can bring about a radical change. They're sick and tired of the povertarian doles, the welfare mechanisms, by calling them weak and weakest. They want to emerge stronger. They're in line and sync. The political terrain in this country has changed. Everybody is aspiring to go to the next rung, the next ladder, the next step. This is exactly what Mr. Modi understood very early in his career. He understood that people are aspiring for change, for growth, for a better life. And that has been his entire theme during his campaign. And all the steps taken by the government. And you talked about the techie murder. I was on TV yesterday and I strongly condemned the organization that did it. They were neither Hindus nor were the nationalists. They were a bunch of murderous, deviant louts who deserve to be booked. Okay, and Mr. Rajnath Singh, the Home Minister, has asked for a report within 24 hours from the Pune Police Commissioner.
Yeah.
Let the report come, and I hope serious action is taken for all such acts of hate crime and bigotry.
With utmost humility, first of all, even though Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer may have indulged in name calling, I don't think that doing a money on money is also very fair. So I would ask you to refrain from using such language, even towards him, because he's a nominated member of parliament.
I take back my words.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Secondly, I do know, Ijaz, that your views on this entire issue of the killing of the Pune techie is well known. And but Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of this country. He's a Twitter-happy Prime Minister. One statement saying that I do not support this politics would not hurt, and that would actually go ahead and prove that what Shashi is saying about Modi 2.0 may actually happen. But he did not take that opportunity. So I'm wondering whether he's still stuck in Modi 1.0.
Actually, the Home Minister of the country has asked for a report.
These are routine reports.
Everybody in the party has condemned it within Parliament, outside
Actually,
Parliament.
apart from you, I've not heard a voice.
People have condemned it.
Like who?
Shaina NC has condemned it.
China, tell me government. Tell me one statement of
Mr.
government.
Rajnath Singh has said.
What did he say publicly? What did he say publicly?
No, he said we cannot
Did
allow
he say
such.
publicly?
We cannot allow such.
Where has he said it?
All right.
Where
But
is he said it?
we're
He's
talking
not
about
said it.
Tharoor. We're talking about Tharoor.
said it.
Sanjeev, I want to come to you because as far as Tharoor is concerned, there's another very interesting thing. For the Congress party itself, I mean, when the Aam Aadmi Party won the Delhi elections, Rahul Gandhi said we need to learn from Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party. Now Modi's won the election. It's seemingly that the Congress is taking a leaf out of his book in praising and inclusiveness. Where is the Congress's own strategy? I'll let you respond, Shahzad, but I want to get Sanjeev's perspective in on this first.
See, I don't think Congress has any strategy in place, firstly. Secondly, you have to understand that someone like a Shashi Tharoor, the sort of background he comes from, even initially when he came, he still hasn't settled down properly within the party. We all remember, under which circumstances he had to resign his MOS External Affairs. And, he got into controversy over his tweeting thing. Now what we're seeing is that, congressmen finally realize the value of Twitter and social media and are switching to it. So, as of now, the only reaction that we've seen has come from Rahul Gandhi, that too belatedly. He writes a letter yesterday, which is given to all media persons, of how he's concerned about, it's happening in the country. But, for someone on whom there is so much of expectation riding high, and at a time when, you're at your all-time lowest with just 44 MPs, you have to do something out of the box. You have to meet your MPs, you have to meet your workers, and instill that kind of confidence. It can't get worse than this, so things will only get better. But unfortunately, that message is not yet being able to it's not been able to come out of the Congress party and go to people. And that is why you see a sort of confusion and this sort of messages that come out, that you see someone like Shashi Tharoor's message being construed in the wrong sense. So, there needs to be a sense of clarity within the Congress party of what their strategy is going to be as far as taking on this new government is. And sadly, that is missing so far.
All right, Lakshmi, but as far as Tharoor is concerned, clearly had problems within the Congress as well. So, I mean, is it fodder for his critics within the party? How's his relationship with the Kerala unit of the party?
See, when he first joined, when he embarked on this political career and joining the Congress party and, standing for elections from Kerala, it was not well received from Trivandrum within the party. We saw a lot of, opposition. He was not accepted. FSGs were burned. He was not accepted at all. And then it took a while. There were a lot of meetings, and we saw that all was well, and the party taking a stand, and he was welcome and all. But I still think that he is still not an accepted, person. Even now, after his statements, he is the one who's going on defending what he said. Of course, it is an article that he's written. Everything is there for you to read and understand. It is not pro Modi. It's very neutral. He's written about something, and even when he won the elections, from Trivandrum, his first tweet was that he's preparing to sit in opposition. So, sometimes, I think we're taking it out of context here, but yeah, within Congress, I think he's still not settled.
Well,
Ishan, his BBM status says dawn of a new era. So he understands the change has taken place, and it's for the Congress party to accept that the change has taken place. What Lakshmi just spoke about, him, he wants to be an insider, he wants to contribute. That's the way Shashi has been, and what we've observed with Shashi. But if the party considers him to be an outsider and tries to negate his aspects of democratic functioning, then the party is not really introspecting in its own way. It's an internal matter of the Congress party, so they have to decide that. But what I would like to add to this is that there has to be some sort of sanity, reasonableness within all political parties to understand that we have to accept the mandate, and we need to move on in terms of real issues rather than lamenting and being cribbing and whining about each other and what is happening in each other's parties. We actually have to move on because the voters don't want us to see us squabbling. They want us to work in unison for a better India.
Is that really the attitude that the Congress is also going to adopt? I mean, Shahzad, what are the voices within the party, your people saying?
I'm always very intrigued when a party like the BJP, who does not know what to do with its founding member, in fact removes his board on the first day from the NDA parliamentary office, advises us as to how we should take care of a two-time MP who has obviously got a very substantial following, not just in his constituency, not just in his state, but within the Congress party itself. But be that as it may, I know he comes from a good place when he says this. I can assure you that the Congress party is evolving a strategy as to how to take on this government. We have 44, that's a fact of life that we have to deal with. There has to be a strategy in parliament, and there has to be a strategy, more importantly, outside parliament. And that strategy is going to be headed by our Vice President, Rahul Gandhi. Make no mistakes about that, and that strategy is in place. As far as Shashi Tharoor is concerned, a lot of people endorse, understand where he's coming from. They realize that he has not praised Mr. Modi. In fact, if you could say, he has made a very nuanced criticism of Mr. Modi and his background and where he's coming from and what he's trying to do. So I just wish that those in my party and other places who are reacting on Tharoor's statements would actually go and read the original source and understand the nuances rather than relying on the media's projection of what he has said.
All right, but are people in the Congress also holding him accountable for what happened in the elections? Because he was ultimately not just contesting the MP election, right, but he was in charge of communication.
Actually,
and
no, he was not in charge.
Social media, for example, for the party.
From my understanding, Shashi Tharoor was a very prolifically active person on the media and social media especially, but he was not in charge of anything. The in charges were some different people, but I don't think Shashi Tharoor was given a specific responsibility to head it. Had he been given, I think we would have done a much better job. This is what I'd confess.
All right, so on that note, I'll give the final word to the man on the street, the common man. What do you think about Tharoor's move, Ashutosh, and your final comments?
I think that too much has been made out of it, to be very honest with you. I think it's Mr. Tharoor is known for his very candid views, which at times don't happen to be the line of the Congress party. But I think one thing which I must appreciate with regard to the blog that he's written is that he's tried to be honest. Something which we haven't seen in the political space recently is that he's tried to appreciate his opponent, his good performance, which is something which we require. We require politicians who do not just oppose for the sake of opposing, but who can also support and lend a helping hand to the government when it is actually doing something constructive. But having said that, I do not think that this is a sort of I do not think that Mr. Tharoor is shifting to the BJP or that he's a Modi fan or something of that sort. I don't think the BJP should jump to such kind of conclusions. The BJP has got a terrific mandate. It does not need endorsements from Dr. Tharoor or anybody of his like. But nonetheless, such kind of endorsements are welcome. And I think also it lends weight to the criticism of Dr. Tharoor the next time that he actually steps up to criticize Mr. Modi. It will also lend some weight to that because he will be looked upon as somebody who's not just criticizing for the sake of criticizing, but who is also somebody who can actually commend the government and also criticize at the same time. I think, as a suggestion to the Congress party, though I'm not a big fan of it, I think they would have done well had they had Dr. Tharoor as a more important position in the House, probably in terms of its leader or as its deputy leader, instead of Mallikarjun Kharge, who they've chosen. I think Dr. Tharoor would, as a suave person who can speak well in Parliament and can actually take on the government, I think Dr. Tharoor's speaking abilities and his participation in debates is something that I personally do definitely look forward to. As important as a good government is, I think equally important is a strong opposition in Parliament, though that there is no opposition in Parliament, to be very honest, but nonetheless, even a one-man opposition can do a lot. For example, in the 60s, you had Acharya Tipani in Parliament. 2-3 of them could actually, and Ram Manohar Lohia could take Nehru to task. So it's not merely about numbers, but it's also about the weight of the individual. And I hope that out of the few congressmen, Dr. Tharoor is definitely one of those people who I think can live up to that.
All right, fair enough. So on that rather positive note about Dr. Tharoor, we'll wrap up. Both of you are really good friends with him, and let's see where his next political future is. I mean, what lies in his political future. But thanks very much, all of you, for coming in. Sanjeev, Lakshmi, and Ashutosh, and Dr. Ilmi and Shahzad. Thanks very much for joining us on this show. Well, that was a little presentation on Tharoor's tweets. What do you think about it? Tweet into us, write into us, use social media, use Facebook, or go to indiapostlive.com to watch this video, and do check out the other ones as well. Thanks so much for watching.